As you can see by the title, this video is going to be about making friends at university. That's something I can say something about because I did that. That's something I did. I also remember it was something ridiculously scary, and for somebody who has, you know, a fairly inflated ego, a background in theatre, and quite good self-confidence generally, it was still terrifying. So here are my top 3 tips to making friends at university. So the worst thing about making friends at university is that they don't know your backstory. They don't really know anything about you, they don't know your past. What's also important to bear in mind is the best thing about making friends at university is that they don't know your backstory, they don't know anything about you, they don't know your past. If you've been through good times and if you've been through bad times, this is a perfect time for you to reevaluate what's happened to you, what impact that has had on who you are, and how you're moving forward from this point. All of backstory is relevant, and all of that backstory will come out eventually for people. It might be in a deep conversation in a coffee shop sometime. It might be on a street corner pavement wearing only one shoe and shoveling questionably hygienic fries into your mouth at 4 in the morning. Who knows? Either way, that backstory is important and it will come out for those people who really matter. But at the moment, what you need to focus on is what that backstory was and how that you can push that forward, how that makes you you. And if those experiences didn't make you somebody you're proud of, now's the time for you to act positively on that and maybe work towards changing that. And what's exciting is that you get to present this new person that you have created to these people, and that's the first thing they see about you. It's not about who you were, it's not about who you could have been, it's not about anything that's happened in your past or any kind of expectations that you've had before. This is a new person and it's a truthful person. This is a true reflection of who you are now. These people don't know who you were. Number 2, don't try and summarise yourself. I know it's hard, and I know it's, you know, sometimes when you go into a social situation and you know who you are, you kind of panic about knowing who you are and you kind of want to communicate that as fast as possible so you can get on with your friendship. A great idea can come across as quite intimidating. If you come into a conversation and you're like, hi, my name's Francesca, I like bourbons, not Werther's Original, I like netball, not football, I think Buffy the Vampire Slayer is the most superior piece of media I've ever watched. Everybody hates the in-betweeners, everybody. Coming across with opinions about everything very fast and coming across with massively sweeping statements about who you are kind of makes becoming your friend quite redundant, because there's nothing new to discover, there's no opinions to form with that person. You're not coming across as somebody who's got duality, which is fascinating to have a friend. It's kind of this and kind of that. Like, that's when you really get to know somebody, when you can kind of gauge in somebody's personality where they are on a spectrum of things, confident to quiet, excitable to chilled, Buffy to the in-betweeners. These are spectrums that we want to get to know about you, and that's what's beautiful about friendships, is that you don't always know, you understand a more complex side of somebody rather than just the absolutes. It also sets you up to fail later in life, because if you're somebody who goes in, you're like, I never bitch about anybody, I just hate drama, boys just love me. Like, these are the kind of statements that might not happen in this future that you haven't met yet. These are things that maybe you will maybe bitch a little bit and it will be a bit awkward and so you'll be sorry for it, but you know, making a generalisation about the beginning is shit. Just see that making sweeping statements about yourself isn't a way to make friends, because it's not a communication. Instead, I suggest observing things around you, taking note of what's going on, and being involved in those shared experiences you're having. Like, always be aware of what's going on. Maybe if you notice a funny situation that's happening in a crowd beside you, something funny about the flat that you've noticed. So your initial interaction with people is about the experience you're having now, rather than trying to fill everybody in about your backstory and your very rigid hobbies straight away. Number 3, talk to as many people as possible. University is a kind of ridiculous situation in the history of civilization in which there are thousands of people that are your age with a lot of disposable time and money on their hands, all together in one very small area, and that's all we know about them. These people could be anybody, and that's what's awesome. Scary, but awesome. Don't just scan the crowd and look for people who look like the kind of groups of people you used to hang out with at school, because it's a missed opportunity. If nothing else, yeah, maybe you might end up with those people that kind of look and sound and laugh at the same kind of things that you did with people at school, but then you might end up with people that you never thought you'd hang out with, or people who don't initially wear the costume of who they are, and you need to find those people. And if they look like, oh, that person's wearing a tracksuit, I don't like sport, I'm not going to talk to them, you might have lost a potential bridesmaid of the future. Who knows? This kind of strange and terrifying and beautiful social situation will never happen to you again in your whole life. You might go on a cruise holiday in your 40s and there might be a lot of people around who could be anyone who all have a disposable time and income, but that's pretty much the only other eventuality I can think of. Take advantage of this opportunity to peer into lots of different walks of life and peer into lots of different perspectives, because whatever degree you're doing, that will come in handy. Also, having a variety of different kinds of company will help you deal with all those kind of varieties of different kind of emotions and the situations you're going to be in the next 3 years. Those were my top 3 pieces of advice for making friends at university. If you're going to university this year, I'm very excited for you and fairly jealous. If you're at university or you've been to university and you have some other top tips for people, please leave them in the comments below so we all kind of scroll through them and pull this great resource of human experience and knowledge. Don't forget to get drunk.